On the outskirts of a small, forgotten town, nestled deep in a dense forest, there was a legend whispered among the villagers, a tale of a thunderstorm like no other, known as the storm that takes. This storm was said to come without warning, tearing through the land with a malevolent will, leaving nothing but ruin in its wake. Those caught in its fury were never seen again, their homes reduced to rubble, their existence erased as if they had never been. Most dismissed the stories as mere superstition, but some believed, having seen the aftermath, the places where entire families had vanished, leaving only whispers in the wind. One evening, as dark clouds gathered on the horizon, a group of friends, Jack, Lila, Sam, and Mia, decided to spend the night in an old cabin deep within the forest. They were city dwellers, visiting for a weekend escape, and had heard the tales from the locals with amused disbelief. The idea of spending a night where the storm was said to roam excited them. It was a challenge to prove that the legends were nothing but myth. As they settled into the cabin, the wind began to pick up, howling through the trees with an eerie intensity. The once clear sky became a swirling mass of black clouds, and the air grew thick with the scent of rain. Jack, the bravest, laughed as he shut the door against the rising wind. "Looks like we're in for a wild night," he said, grinning at the others. The first crack of thunder echoed across the forest, loud and sharp. The lights flickered and then went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. Sam fumbled for a flashlight, casting its weak beam around the room. "Must be a power outage," he muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. Rain began to fall in heavy sheets, pounding against the roof with a force that shook the walls. The wind howled, a high-pitched wail that grew louder and more frenzied. Lila and Mia huddled together on the couch, their earlier bravado fading as the storm closed in. Suddenly, the door burst open with a deafening crash, ripped from its hinges by the wind. Rain poured in, drenching everything in its path. Jack rushed to close it, but the wind was too strong, pushing him back with a strength that felt almost supernatural. "Help me!" he shouted, but the words were lost in the roar of the storm. Then, as if the storm had a mind of its own, the wind shifted, whipping through the cabin with a ferocity that sent objects flying. The windows shattered, and the walls groaned under the pressure. It was as if the storm was alive. "Get to the basement!" he yelled, but the others could barely hear him over the cacophony. They stumbled toward the basement door, but the floor beneath them began to buckle and crack. The cabin was coming apart around them. Suddenly, there was a deafening clap of thunder, and the roof was torn away, exposing them to the full fury of the storm. The wind roared, a monstrous force that pulled at them with invisible hands. Jack grabbed hold of Mia, trying to anchor her as the storm tried to pull them both into the abyss, but it was too strong. With a final desperate cry, Jack lost his grip, and Mia was ripped from his arms, disappearing into the swirling darkness. The wind screamed, and one by one, the friends were pulled into the storm's grasp, their screams lost to the howling wind. The cabin collapsed, and the storm took everything, wood, stone, and life, leaving nothing but the empty shell of a forest, eerily calm in the aftermath. The next day, when the villagers ventured into the woods, there was nothing left of the cabin or the friends who had spent the night there. The ground was undisturbed, the trees standing silent as if nothing had happened. The only sign was the strange, unnatural silence that hung over the forest. The storm that takes had claimed more victims, and the legend continued to grow, whispered by those who knew to stay away when the clouds began to gather and the wind started to howl.